Hi, welcome to Story Time with Gigi. Today we're reading an Angelina Ballerina story called Angelina, Star of the Show. Story by Catherine Hollibird. Illustrations by Helen Craig. Welcome aboard the Jolly Rat, Angelina, said Grandma and Grandpa. Are you ready to set off for the Mouseland Dance Festival? Let's get a look at the Jolly Rat. I can't wait, said Angelina. I'm going to think up a special dance on the way so I can be the star of the show. Do you like my costume? It's lovely, but we need all paws on deck to get the boat to the festival, Grandpa reminded her as he started the engine. That means everybody needs to help. But Angelina wasn't listening. She skipped around the deck, imagining her great performance. Aren't you going to wear your overalls? Asked Grandma in surprise. Angelina smiled sweetly and shook her head. I've decided to stay in my costume. As the Jolly Rat chugged along through the countryside, Angelina twirled and danced, stopping only to pester her grandparents with questions. What do you think of this step? Angelina asked. And does this look nice? You're a sailor now, Grandma reminded her sternly, but Angelina was too busy dancing to be a sailor. Sounds like Angelina's going to learn a lesson. The Jolly Rat needs a new coat of paint, Grandpa announced, and he handed Angelina a paintbrush. But Grandpa, I really have to practice. I've got a whole new dance routine to think up, said Angelina, and she spun into Grandpa's can of paint and waltzed off, leaving little footprints all over the deck. Oh no. After that, Grandpa decided Angelina should help Grandma down in the galley. But Angelina forgot to watch the soup while she practiced plies, and it all boiled over. Oh no. That afternoon, Angelina worked on her arabesques, and it wasn't long before she got all tangled up in Grandma's clothesline and Grandpa's fishing line. She had to be rescued by both her grandparents, who were getting very grumpy. That's enough, Angelina, they cried. When Angelina went to bed that night, she promised Grandma and Grandpa that she would stop dancing, but the very next morning, Angelina forgot and performed a magnificent series of leaps along the deck. Uh-oh. The deck was slippery and Angelina lost her balance. She tumbled right into a can of oil and got covered from head to toe in horrible black grease. Her costume. Oh no, look what I've done, Angelina gasped. Her beautiful costume was ruined. Angelina was so horrified that she raced below deck to her bunk bed and cried her heart out. Then, just when she had decided she was the worst mouseling in the world, Grandma came to give her a cuddle. "I'm sorry, Grandma," Angelina sobbed. "I haven't been very helpful, have I?" "I know you're sorry," said Grandma as she dried Angelina's tears. "I haven't got anything to wear to the dance festival now," sniffed Angelina, "and I can't do my dance without a costume." "Well, let's see what's in my old trunk," suggested Grandma. And there inside the trunk they found a beautiful sailor suit. "That was my favorite outfit," Grandma said, "and that's me wearing it," she added, proudly pointing to a faded photograph that was hanging on the wall. "Oh," Angelina gasped excitedly. "Do you think I could borrow it if I'm very careful?" "Of course," smiled Grandma. "I'll add some special ribbons." For the rest of the journey, Angelina wore her old overalls, and she tried very hard to be a real sailor. Before long, she could steer the Jolly Rat down the Mousetail Canal. She swabbed the decks and painted the woodwork with Grandpa, and she cooked with Grandma down in the galley. She even baked her grandparents some cheddar cheese pies. And in the evenings after supper, while Grandpa played his penny whistle, Grandma showed Angelina some of her favorite dances. "Thank you, Grandma," said Angelina one night. "You've given me a wonderful idea." A few days later, the Jolly Rat arrived at the Mouseland Dance Festival. With a new coat of paint and all decked out in garlands of flowers, Angelina proudly tooted the horn. "We're here!" she shouted. As the festival opened, Grandpa played his penny whistle, and Angelina performed her new dance. It was a special sailor's jig that she'd practiced with Grandma. The crowds loved the show and cheered for more. "Hooray for the little sailor!" they shouted. I love the pictures in the Angelina stories. When the evening was over, Angelina hugged her grandparents. "You really were the star of the show," said Grandma. "And you're the best Grandma and Grandpa in all of Mouseland," Angelina replied. Then they joined paws and skipped happily back to the Jolly Rat. And that's our story. Make sure that you like and subscribe and share with your friends, and be sure to go to your local library and check out a book of your own. I know there's thousands there that you'll love. Bye until next time.